The Fabaceae members have 5 sepals. The number of sepals is 5. They are fused. The sepals are fused, therefore they are gamosepalous, and the estivation is imbricate estivation. So inflorescence, it is usually solitary, that is a single flower will be produced on the branch. So when I say potato members, the potato, brinjal, chili, tomato, all those come under the Solanaceae family. All the monocotyledon plants have been put under the Liliaceae family, most of them. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to today's session on chapter 5, that is Morphology of Flowering Plants. I am Dr. Divya, Biology faculty, Vidyashram Pre-University College, Mysore, Temple of Excellence. So in the previous session, we had studied about 2 important structures in a flowering plant, that is the seeds and the fruit. We also studied what are the different parts of the seed and the fruit, and we also studied how a flowering plant is being described, or what are the semi-technical terms that are used for describing a flowering plant. Especially we learnt about the rules that are used in order to describe a flowering plant, and we also learnt about the symbols that are used to describe a flowering plant in brief. So in today's session we shall study about the different families that are there in the flowering plants, that is the angiosperms, which are the Liliaceae, the Fabaceae and the Solanaceae members, and how the families or the plants are being described based on the rules framed in order to describe a flowering plant. And also we shall study how the floral diagram is drawn for that and how a floral formula is put. So we shall start with the session. So first we shall study about the description of some important families, that is family Fabaceae. So those flowers that come under the family Fabaceae, they have a papilionaceous estivation, and we shall study about the family Solanaceae, and also we shall study about the family Liliaceae. And each of these flowers are placed under these different families because of their characteristic features. So let us learn about them. So first, studying about the family, those flowering plants that come under the family Fabaceae. So this family, earlier it was called as Papilionoideae. So why was it called as Papilionoideae? Because it looked like a butterfly. The flowers, they look like a butterfly. So papillon means butterfly. So hence it was called as Papilionoideae. And also it was called as a subfamily of Leguminosae. So Fabaceae was earlier called as Papilionoideae and it was put under a subfamily Leguminosae. But nowadays Fabaceae is a separate family, and this particular Fabaceae is distributed all over the world. So the best examples are the peas, the beans, and all those belonging to the bee family. So all those are put under the family Fabaceae. Why? Because the main characteristic feature is the flower. So flowers, they usually exhibit a vexillary estivation wherein it has a keel or a larger petal and 2 lateral smaller petals and even more smaller petals which are united. So therefore, all those plants have been put under the Fabaceae. So next we shall study the description of the plant based on the vegetative characters. So when we look at the plant morphologically, so what are the vegetative characters? The roots, the flowers, the leaves, all those are the vegetative characters of the part. The reproductive character is the flower. Why the reproductive part is the flower? Because the male and the female gametes are produced there. That is why. So when we see the plant, that is Fabaceae, they can either be large trees, they can also be shrubs, or they can be herbs, and they can have root either with root nodules or without root nodules. And with root nodules is one of the main characteristic features. So what are root nodules? So in the roots, there are small bulged structures that are produced, that are called as nodules. So in the nodules, actually the rhizobium bacteria will be there, and those rhizobium bacteria actually help in the fixation of the nitrogen. So therefore, leguminous plants, they have one characteristic feature called as the nodule. So therefore, these plants that are having roots with root nodules have been put under the family Fabaceae. In all the other plants, it cannot be seen. This kind of modification in the root or structure in the root or the nodule formation in the root cannot be seen. So next, moving on to the stem. So the stem is either erect, that is it is straight, or it is a climber. So the best example is pea. So peas, they are climbers actually. So the stem either it can be erect, straight, or they can be like climbers. So that is one characteristic feature of the stem. So next, moving on to the leaves. So when we look at the leaves of the Fabaceae family plants, we can see that they are alternate. So what is alternate? So if the leaves are arranged like this, it is called as alternate. So there is alternate leaf arrangement, and also they are pinnately compound, that is they are made up of, so they have alternate leaf arrangement like this, and when we look at the leaf, they are pinnately compound. So they are pinnately compound. So this is one of the characteristic features. They are pinnately compound, or sometimes they can be simple. Why? Because I'll give you the example of a pea plant. So in pea plant, do they have pinnately compound leaves like this? No, they have a simple leaf. So the pea plant has a simple leaf. So that is one characteristic feature. So those plants, they have alternate arrangement of leaves. So alternate arrangement in all the Fabaceae members, the arrangement of the leaves is alternate. But when it comes to whether the leaf is simple or compound, some of the Fabaceae members have pinnately compound leaves and some have simple leaves. And they have a leaf base and which is pulvinate. So what is pulvinate? So usually the Fabaceae members or the plants of the bean family, at the base of the leaf, there is a small swelling like this. So if this is the leaf at the base, so if this is a stem, there is a small swelling, there is a swollen node. So such a condition is called as pulvinate, and they can be stipulate. So here at the base of the leaf, if the stipules are present, then it is stipulate. So they are stipulate, and the venation is reticular. So if this is the leaf, so reticulate venation, from the main vein, a number of small veins will arise like a network. So this is nothing but reticulate venation. They can be reticulate venation. So this is the vegetative character. So next, moving on to the floral character. So floral characters, the inflorescence is racemose. So in the previous session, remember, you had studied about two types of inflorescence, cymose and racemose inflorescence. So in this case, inflorescence is racemose. So coming to the floral characters of the Fabaceae family. So when we look at the flower or the inflorescence, so what is the inflorescence? In one stalk, small numerous tiny flowers will be present. So when we look at the inflorescence is racemose. So what is racemose? One main axis will be there and the flower will continue to grow in that particular axis. They will start to grow laterally like this, and these flowers, they will continue to grow. The axis will again extend, it will continue to grow until the end of the life cycle. So therefore, they have a racemose inflorescence, and the flower, it is bisexual. So what is bisexual? Both the male and the female reproductive part of the flower will be present in the same plant. They are bisexual. And the estivation is zygomorphic. That is, the flower cannot be divided into two equal halves. It is zygomorphic. And next, moving on to the calyx. So once we look at the sepals, we'll find that the Fabaceae members have 5 sepals. The number of sepals is 5. They are fused. The sepals are fused. Therefore, they are gamosepalous, and the estivation is imbricate estivation. So, in imbricate estivation, what happens? All the sepals, they lie in one particular margin, that is imbricate estivation. And also, moving on to the corolla also, petals are 5. So, sepals. So, let's talk about the sepal first. So, the sepals, I told you, the flower is bisexual, right? So, the female reproductive part So the female reproductive part is also present. The male reproductive part is also drawn here because it is bisexual. So next, moving on to the calyx. How many sepals are there? The sepals are 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 sepals are 5 sepals are there. And they are gamosepalous, that is they are fused. As you can see, they are fused, and the aestivation is imbricate aestivation. Next, moving on to the corolla. The corolla are also 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And can you see here, when you look at the corolla, you can see they are polypetalous, that is they are not fused. Therefore, a line is not drawn. They are polypetalous. So polypetalous, they are not fused, and they are papillonaceous. So what is papillonaceous? That is they exhibit vexillary aestivation or papillonaceous aestivation. So can you see here, one main petal will be there, then to that 2 lateral petals will be there, and then to the 2 lateral petals, again below the 2 lateral petals, 2 smaller petals will be there, and these smaller petals will be fused at the base. So that is nothing but vexillary aestivation, because it looks like a lip and also it looks like a butterfly. It is called as vexillary or papillonaceous aestivation. So this is about the corollas, and also they consist of a posterior standard 2 lateral wings. So they have 2 lateral wings, 1 standard petal, 2 lateral wing petals will be present, and 2 keel petals will be present, which is connected to each other. So therefore, they are vexillary aestivation. Next, moving on to andrecium. What is andrecium? It is the male reproductive part. So how many andrecium or the anthers are present? 10 are present in the case of Fabaceae. They are diadelphous. So what is diadelphous? They are arranged in 2 groups. So that is diadelphous. They are arranged in 2 groups. So 10 anthers are arranged in 2 groups. Maybe here, can you see here, they are arranged in 2 groups, 1, 2, 9 in one group and 1 in separate group. That is diadelphous. So if, say for example, one anther will be arranged like this, and the other 1 group and the other 9 will be arranged in 1 group like this. So this is diadelphous condition, diadelphous condition. So here you can see 2 groups are being formed, 2 groups. 9 in one group and 1 in separate group. 1 is separate. Therefore, there are 10 anthers and they are diadelphous, and the anther is dithecous. So what is dithecous? They are bilobed. 2 theca. They are having 2 lobes. So if the anther is like this, 2 lobes are present. That is why when you cut the anther, you have 4 pollen sacs being present. 1, 2 and 3, 4, because they are 2 lobed, that is they are diadelphous, and they are diadelphous. And also coming to the gynoecium. So gynoecium, so you can ask me what this line is. This is nothing but representing groups. They are united. The anthers are united in 1 group and 1 is in separate group. So that is why it is shown with a line like this. And next, moving on to the gynoecium. So here the ovary is superior. It has superior ovary and only 1 carpel being present. So superior ovary and all is not drawn. It is only represented in the floral formula. But here only 1 carpel is present. Only 1 carpel, and it is placentation is basal. So if you can see here, monocarpellary, it is unilocular, only 1 carpel is present, but inside there are many ovules being present. The style is single, and also it is monocarpellary, and the ovary is superior. So that is represented here in the form of gynoecium. Next, moving on to the fruit. Fruit is a legume. The fruit is called as a legume, and the seed, it is 1 to many seeds will be produced, and the seeds are non-endospermic. So when you break open a seed and see if the endosperm or if albumin is present, it is endospermic. If albumin or endosperm is absent, it is non-endospermic. So now moving on to the floral formula based on the floral diagram and the characteristics. So here I told you they are zygomorphic. So it is represented by this particular symbol. So next we are talking about the calyx. So calyx. So calyx represents K. K for calyx, and sepals are 5. So I have written 5. and they are gamosepalous. So they are fused. That is why brackets have been put. Next, moving on to the corolla. Corolla, how many are there? One standard petal is there, and two lateral wings are there, and two keel petals are there, right? So that is why, and the keel petals are fused. Can you see here? Keel petals are fused. That is why they have put a bracket. The petal, the standard petal is free. It is not fused. The two lateral petals are free. It is not fused. Whereas the keel petals, the smaller ones, are fused at the base. That is why the bracket is put here. And next, moving on to the androecium. Androecium, how many stamens are there? 10 stamens are there. So 9 in one group. So because, how do you consider them to be group? They're fused into one group. So therefore a bracket is being put, and plus one in separate group. And next, moving on to the gynoecium. Gynoecium, only one is present, and ovary is superior. So if the ovary is superior, the line, and the ovary is superior. So therefore a line will be drawn at the bottom. So this is how the floral formula is written, and these are the characteristics of the Fabaceae family. So next, moving on to the economic importance of the Fabaceae members. So these Fabaceae members, usually they are used as a staple, that is pulses. For example, grams, then arhar, sem, moong dal, soya bean, all these are the pulses that are being used, and they are also used as a edible oil. Say for example, soya bean oil, groundnut oil and all is edible oil, that is refined oil preparation they are used, and also they are used in the preparation of the dye. So Indigofera is a plant species that comes under the family Fabaceae because it exhibits all the characteristics that a Fabaceae family has to have, and this Indigofera produces the indigo dye or the blue color dye. Therefore it is used in the manufacturing of the dye. So next, they are used as fibers. So sun hemp, example, it is used as a fiber because it has more amount of fiber is present in the plant material. Therefore it is used in various purposes. Next, Sesbania and Trifolium, they are used as fodder for animals. And also lupin and sweet pea, they are used as ornamentals, that is for decoration purposes. Next, Muliati is used as a medicine for medicinal purposes. Therefore, Fabaceae can be used as pulses, as edible oil, as used in the preparation of dye, in fibers, as a fodder, as an ornamental, and also used as a medicinal plant in the preparation of the medicines. So next, moving on to the next family, that is Solanaceae. So all the potato members come under the Solanaceae family. So when I say potato members, the potato, brinjal, chili, tomato, all those come under the Solanaceae family. So how and why are they placed under the Solanaceae family? We shall understand by looking at the characteristic features of the plants. So it is one of the largest family, and it is widely distributed in tropical regions and also in subtropical regions and in the temperate zones. Anywhere you go, you'll find potato, and there is no person who doesn't know a vegetable called as potato because it is worldwide, found in almost all the temperate regions. Next, moving on to the vegetative characters. So here the plants, they are mostly herbs, shrubs, they can, and small trees, but they cannot be large trees like that of the Fabaceae members. They are small trees. And moving on to the stem. So the stem is usually herbaceous, that is, it is not woody, like how large trees have woody stem. No, they don't have woody stem, but the stem is herbaceous. Very rarely it is woody, and it is aerial, that is growing above the ground, and it is erect, and it is cylindrical. So cylindrical, it is round in shape, and it is branched. So branches up there in the stem, it is solid or it is hollow. So when you take a section of the stem, in between, if there is a hollow structure, then the stem is hollow, that is pith will be absent. If the pith is present, then it will be solid. It is called as solid. So they can be hairy or glabrous. So when you look at the stem, sometimes white minute hairs will be seen on the stem. So they can be hairy. So the scientific term for the hairy is glabrous. So glabrous means having hair, and they are the underground stem in potato, and some underground stem is present. The best example is potato, which is Solanum tuberosum. And next, Coming to the leaves. So the arrangement of leaves is alternate. It is simple leaves. So the leaves are alternate and it is quite simple leaves. Simple leaves are present and it is rarely pinnately compound. Only in very rare species it is pinnately compound. Otherwise, almost all the species under the Solanaceae family, they are simple leaves. They are simple leaves and they are exstipulate. So they don't have the stipule. So what is the stipule? At the base of the leaf, there are small tiny leaf-like structures that are present. So if it is present, it is stipulate. But in the case of Solanaceae members, that is the potato family, they are exstipulate, means or E-stipulate, meaning stipules are absent. Next, the venation is reticulate venation. So they have a reticulate kind of a venation. So this is about Solanaceae vegetative characters. So next, moving on to the floral characters. So coming to the inflorescence. So inflorescence, it is usually solitary. That is, a single flower will be produced on the branch. It is not like any other racemose or cymose inflorescence. It is just one single flower. Therefore, the inflorescence is solitary and it is axillary. Axillary, it is produced at the tip of the or in between. So axillary, it is produced somewhere in between. The flowers will occur like this. So it is axillary and it is single. Axillary and or in some cases, it can be cymose as in solanum. So what is cymose? Cymose means, say for example, one main axis will be produced. At the tip, one flower will be produced. Again, that axis will branch. Again, at the tip, one flower will be produced. This axis will branch. Again, at the tip, one flower is produced. So this is nothing but cymose inflorescence. So in the case of potato, that is solanum, the inflorescence is cymose. Next, moving on to the flower. So the flower is bisexual, that is the male and the female reproductive part is present in the same flower. So you can see here the male part, that is the anther, and the female part, that is the gynoecium or the ovary, is present in one flower itself. Therefore, it is bisexual and it is actinomorphic. That is, the flower can be divided into two equal halves. Therefore, since it is actinomorphic, it is represented by this particular symbol. It is actinomorphic. And next, moving on to the calyx. So the sepals are 5, they are united and they are persistent and there is valvate estivation. So persistent means once the fruit develops and the floral parts wither, that is the corolla and all that withers off or it falls off, even then the sepals will not fall off or the calyx will not fall off. So therefore they are persistent, they remain in the plant, in the fruit as such. So have you seen tomato? Tomato, when you draw like tomato, if you see here, calyx will be present on the fruit, green color, right? That is, it is persistent. Actually, in some of the fruits, say for example, mango, what happens? Do you find like this? No, the sepals would have fallen off. But here in this case, Solanaceae members, the sepals will remain in the fruit. They will not fall off like tomato, brinjal and all that. So calyx, the sepals are 5. So can you see here how many sepals are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 sepals. Sepals are 5 and they are gamosepalous. That is, they are united. So that is why the symbol is drawn. They are united. They are gamosepalous. So can you see here? Sepals are, the calyx is 5. K for calyx, calyx is present, therefore K, 5 is the number of calyx that is present, 5 calyx is present and they are united, they are gamosepalous, therefore it is being drawn in a bracket like this. And moving on to the petals, so the petals are also 5, they are united and the estivation is valvate estivation. So estivation is valvate and petals are 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Petals are 5 and they are gamopetalous. The petals are fused. So here also the same thing. Corolla for C. C for corolla. How many are there? 5 corollas are there. 5 petals are there and they are gamopetalous. They are fused. Therefore the bracket. And next, moving on to the andrecium. The stamens are again 5 and they are epipetalous. So they are 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is epipetalous? They are fused. Because they are fused to the petal, a line is drawn here. Can you see here? One line is drawn because they are fused to the petals. They are epipetalous. So the stamens are 5 and they are fused. So you can see here androecium is 5 and they are fused to the petal. It is epipetalis. Next, moving on to the gynoecium. It is bicarpellary, syncarpous, that is the carpels are fused, and the ovary is superior. It is bilocular, placenta is swollen with many ovules. So bicarpellary, it is bicarpellary. Can you see here 1 and 2? It is bicarpellary, made up of many ovules. Many ovules are present in each carpel. So all this, it is being drawn here. So, and it is bilocular. 2 locules are being present, 2 locules. So all that is being shown there. So therefore the gynoecium is 2. It is bicarpellary, 2 carpels are present, therefore 2, and they are syncarpous, they are fused. That is why bracket is written, and the ovary is superior. If the ovary is superior, one line will be drawn at the bottom like this. The ovary is superior. So this is about the floral characters of Solanaceae. So next, moving on to the economic importance of Solanaceae members. They are largely consumed as food, right? Tomato, brinjal, potato, every time it is used in food preparation. So they are largely consumed as food. And chili. Chili is also Solanaceae member. It is used as spices. And we have belladonna, ashwagandha. All these have medicinal properties. So they are used in Ayurvedic preparation. And tobacco is a fumigatory. Tobacco is used for smoking purposes. So tobacco, it is a fumigatory. And also petunia. They are beautiful pale colored flowers and brightly colored flowers which are usually used for decorative purposes. That is petunia. They are used as ornamental. So these are the economic importance. So next, moving on to the next family, that is Liliaceae. So Liliaceae, all the monocotyledon plants have been put under the Liliaceae family, most of them. So Liliaceae are monocotyledonous plants and it is distributed worldwide. Throughout the world it is being used because lilies are usually used for decorative purposes. They are of different colors, right? It is used for decorative purposes. So first we shall study about the vegetative characters. So these are perennial herbs. So they are growing throughout, they are perennial herbs throughout the season, and they have a underground bulb, corm or rhizomes. And these underground bulb, corm or rhizomes, they are the vegetative propagules which can be used for producing new plants or for vegetative propagation purposes. And the leaves are mostly basal and it is alternate arrangement. They are linear, that is they are very thin. They are exstipulate, that is they do not have a stipule, and they have parallel venation. Again here, because they are a monocot, they have parallel venation. So the leaves have a parallel venation like this. It is not a reticulate venation but a parallel venation. So next, moving on to the floral characters. So the inflorescence here also, it is solitary because one stalk will produce one flower itself. It is solitary. Sometimes it can be a cymose and often it is a umbellate cluster. So what are umbellate? So all the flowers will come in one line. This is umbellate. So they are in umbellate clusters. One main axis and all the lateral axis will be produced in such a way that at the end all the flowers would lie in one particular straight line, umbellate. The inflorescence is umbellate clusters as I have drawn here, I have shown you. And the flower, they are bisexual, that is both the male and the female reproductive part are present in the same flower, and they are actinomorphic, that is their flower can be divided into two halves. That is why in the floral formula it is represented in the symbol like this. And they have the male reproductive part and the female reproductive part in the same flower. Next, moving on to the perianth. So they have a perianth, that is a tepal. So the tepals are 6 in. So tepals are the ones which neither represent a sepal nor a petal. Such parts are called as the tepal. So there are tepals which are in two groups, that is 3 plus 3. So you can see group, this is tepal. Tepals are represented like this. Tepal 1, tepal, sorry, this is 2 and this is 3. One more, tepal 1, tepal 2, tepal 3. So they are arranged 3 plus 3, that is in two groups. Group 1 has 3 tepals and group 2 has 3 tepals. So therefore they are arranged like this and they are connected to each other. They are connected to each other. So therefore 3 plus 3. So what is the tepal? Tepal is also represented by perianth. Perianth and tepal are one and the same. So therefore P, it is 3 plus 3 and it is fused. So they are fused. So a bracket should be drawn. So they are fused. Next, coming on to the andrecium. So andrecium, the stamens are 6. 6 stamens are present, that is 3 plus 3. So if you can see here, and also they are epipetalous. Why? Because they are attached to the corolla. In this case, they are attached to the perianth or the tepal. So how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 6 are there. They are attached to the tepals. 3 plus 3 again. Why? Because the 3 of these are attached to one whorl of the tepal and the other 3 are attached to the outer whorl of the tepal. That is why 3 plus 3. And when it comes to gynoecium, they are tricarpellary. That is, they have 3 carpels, that is why 3 is written, and the 3 carpels are fused, that is why a bracket is drawn, and the ovary is superior. So the ovary is superior, it is trilocular with many ovules and axile placentation. So you can see here axile placentation, that is at the center. It is trilocular, locule 1, locule 2 and locule 3, and the placentation starts from, that is the ovules are present at the center. They are placed at the center or they are held by the placenta from the center at the axis. Therefore, it is axial placentation. So that is what they are represented. So this is about the Liliaceae family. And next, moving on to the economic importance. Liliaceae family, they are usually ornamentals, like we have tulip, then gloriosa. So all these are ornamentals. They are used for decorative purposes. Next, they are used for medicinal value, that is aloe vera also comes under the Liliaceae family, and they are used for decorative purposes, and they are also used as vegetables. Asparagus. Asparagus is one of the common vegetables that are used in many parts of the world, and that comes under the family Liliaceae. And next is colchicine. So colchicine, it is actually a compound that is derived from the plant Colchicum autumnale. Colchicum autumnale or Colchicum autumnale. From that, the colchicine compound is derived, and these colchicines have been used since ages, since ancient people only. It has been used for curing various diseases, as a remedy for various diseases. So it reduces actually inflammation, pain and all that, it will reduce. So therefore, these colchicines also are very important, of great economic importance. So this was about the family Liliaceae. So I hope you understood this session very well. So wherein you studied about how the description of the family Liliaceae, the Fabaceae and the Solanaceae are done, and how the floral formula are drawn, and how floral formula is written, and how the floral diagram is drawn. So I hope you understood this session well. We shall meet in the coming session with a new chapter. Thank you.